Hello and welcome to Australian Transformers Weekly. We are bringing you all of the Transformers news from around the world that couldn't be included in the new Space Jam movie because it got cancelled. This is episode 231. We are recording live on Saturday this week, March 27th, 2021. This week we'll be talking about Kingdom Rodimus Prime, Kingdom Galvatron, Masterpiece Skids, and a surprising new friend he's bringing along for the ride, and some new news on the Transformers film series. All that and more is coming up in this week's episode. It strikes me that we probably should have warned Bradley that we do that now with the opening credits.
Yeah, I was like, that's pretty good. How long have you had that?
Yeah, I know, right? It's cool, isn't it? Well, welcome to the show, everyone. I'm Jason. As you can tell, we have Bradley rejoining us this week. He's had a few weeks away. How are you doing, Bradley?
I'm doing quite well, thank you. How are you doing?
Excellent. I'm doing all right. I'm a little bit off my game because it's Saturday night. So yeah, no, if I forget how the internet works during the podcast, please forgive me.
That's why Tony and I are here.
That's right. Keep you in line.
We also have Tony Kim joining us from an undisclosed location somewhere in Western Sydney. How are you doing?
Hello. How are we all?
Did I get that right? Are you in Western Sydney? I can't actually.
No, I'm not in Western Sydney at all.
You could be down the road.
I tend to ignore stuff like that when you say it, though, Jace. So it's kind of like, all right, I'll just take it.
It's fair. That's fair enough. Yeah. Like most things I say. Yes.
Let's run with Western Sydney.
Yeah, I'd like just why not? You know.
Yeah,
fine.
that's right.
Yeah.
I can already feel the vibe of this episode is very Saturday night. You know, like it's a bit looser, a little bit freer. You know, a little bit more sort of cash. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Saturday night.
Okay, that was terrible.
It's karaoke.
Yes, so I'm just checking. Yes, everyone viewing on the Facebook page has just switched off the stream. So yes.
All one of them, yes.
We've done well.
And that was Jason that was watching it.
Oh shit, it was me too. It was opening another window. Whoops. Yeah. What has been there's a wild bit of feedback happening there. Okay.
Sorry?
That's interesting. There's a little wild bit of feedback came through the headphones there. Oh, interesting.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah. How's things going? It's yeah, like I said, it's a little bit off being Saturday night, but I'm getting ready. I'm getting ready for a marathon podcast tonight, and then I have to get up at 5:30 a.m. because I'm going out to Penrith now. Penrith. I don't know if people are familiar with where Penrith is in relation to where I live in Sydney, but I can actually go to the airport and I can get a flight to Melbourne, and I'll be there before I can get to Penrith out in Western Sydney. So I'm heading out to Penrith tomorrow with Clinton Hard from Toy Reel. We are going to be on a table selling Transformers and collectibles at Collecticon Penrith. It's the second convention in a month for me, which it's considering there's been nothing for a year. This is kind of going pretty well. Like Australia's pop culture and collectible scene appears to be back. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. But it is going to be a long day.
Bit of a dumb question for how you do these conventions, though, Jace. But do you bring along extra toys that you kind of got laying around, or are you selling it for other people? Like, how does that stocking work?
So tomorrow Clinton's got the table as Toy Reel, and so Clinton and I are attending, and I'm just taking along some Transformers. I have things sitting in my sell pile that I've wanted to sell for ages.
Right.
I was like, good, I can put a couple of boxes of things in the van and see if people will buy them for me. So I might I might leave with 2 boxes. I might come home with 1. We'll see how we go.
Yeah, or you could literally sell the Unicron box that you don't need anymore.
I could, except it's actually in the Clinton. It's actually in the Clinton studio at in the Toy Reel studio. So Unicron is not with me. So we're not attending for demonstration and exhibition tomorrow. It's really just it's a toy fair and collectible sales thing. So but it's been a while. I used to go out to Collectomania when they used to be out at Penrith Panthers. And that was a long walk from the train, right? So I would get my bike, I'd put my bike on the train, and then I would ride 10 minutes from the train station out there. Penrith Panthers has changed some of their venue layout and stuff. They don't have the tent that they used to run their collectibles shows at anymore. Right. There's a new venue out there that these guys are hosting their show at. I haven't attended Collector Con itself yet, so I'm looking forward to tomorrow, and we are looking at actually attending as TCCA in the future as well. So yeah,
Sounds good.
While I am bagging the distance from my place out to Penrith, Jacob Babick is listening live. He says, "Jason, it's not that far." I assure you, mate, it is. it takes me a really long time to get out to Penrith, and because I have to get public transport. That's the thing. And I mean, I am comparing public transport because even if you are on even if you're in first class on a plane, it is public transport anyway. So something else happened this week. We had a meetup last night in Sydney. We had a few guys come along, and we had a nice little outdoor seating at Rashay's at Harbourside. Filled the table up with Transformers. And had a couple of interstate guests come and join us. So it was a lovely time, and thank you to everyone who came along. We all had a really good night, and we in the tradition of the UK convention that some of us want to go to, we ended the night with a visit to a churros shop, and so we ate some churros, and we'll hopefully do so again in the future.
Can I ask you, Jason, when you're at a table with all these guys and you're transforming toys, and then there's other diners in that same restaurant, do you often get people looking at you, asking you questions as to why you have all these toys on the table?
A couple of people come by and ask, and a lady came by. So we're outdoors last night. We're under shelter, but we're outdoors, and so. So we're not really near other diners in the restaurant. And it's also it's not like it's a fine dining restaurant, right? It's Rashay's, right?
Yes. Beautiful food.
And so, their food's fantastic. So there was a point last night. I won't go naming names. There was a point last night that, on reflection, I'm really amused by this. This bloke came walking down the stairs. We're at Harbourside, so we're in the outdoor area where people walk into the shopping centre. And this guy walked past with his mates, and he sort of craned his neck, had a bit of a look at the things, and then he stood about sort of 10 metres back from the table, and he put his phone up and he took a photo of us all. And I was we expect a bit of attention when we have a table full of Transformers, but also it's like when you go to a convention, right? Cosplay is not consent. You're not just allowed to just randomly take photos of people. And right. So one of the guys at our table stood up and he's just gone, "Oh mate, did you get a good photo? You can come back and take another photo if you want. We'll pose for you or something." And the guy was just sort of and sort of went in. And so he was also eating at Rashay's, and so we didn't leave it at that. He went over to the guy's table and then sort of went, "Hey mate," and took a selfie with him. And the guy's like, "What? Why'd you do that for?" He's like, "Oh, I thought that's what we were doing, taking photos of each other." "Oh, never mind." And he's walked off. And the guy was just the guy didn't actually react, but his mates had a bit of a laugh. So his mates knew that he got. So yeah. Like I said, I won't name names, but I was a little bit nervous that this was going on, but then it all worked out in a fairly fun, amicable fashion. So yeah. Anyway, look, that's stories of us taking Transformers out. We do tend to do this a lot. Usually meetups in Sydney are either organised by TCCA or by Transformers Down Under. And so, we generally get the same people turn up to them. But this week was one that I organised, and so I was just a little bit nervous that I didn't want to antagonise people in case someone decided to come along and trash people's Transformers on the table. So, fortunately, all worked out okay. It was pretty good. So yeah. Without further ado, we've been gas bagging for about 10 minutes. I know I said a couple of weeks ago that Oz Comic Con we wouldn't need to talk about for very long, and then we talked about it for half an hour. We've had a couple of meetups. We don't need to talk about them for more than the 10 minutes that we're on. I think we should start talking about some actual Transformers news. Who's with me?
Let's do it.
Yeah, I need to wake up from that previous gas bagging.
Yeah, no, fair enough too. Fair enough. The live viewer count dropped off while we were talking about it.
We've been missing.
I think you mean they nodded off.
I didn't see anyone nod, but like I didn't see anyone shake their head either. So you know,
we've been missing your honesty, Bradley.
That's why
we have. Let's talk about this guy honestly. We've got some news. We have some new photographs of Kingdom Galvatron and Kingdom Rodimus Prime. We are going to start with Rodimus Prime. These have come from new scans from the current or next issue of Figure King magazine in Japan, and they've answered the call of putting up some clear photos and finally giving us a look at the size of Rodimus versus another known figure, because we've been looking at the photos of Rodimus going, that looks interesting, it looks really nice, all on its own for a while, and we're like, how big is this thing? We can't really tell. So we have I think we've got 2 scans from Figure King magazine to have a look at this week. There's not really that much of a change itself to the robot robot mode or the design of that, but I guess let me see if I can put this into a new tab and sort of
I think the robot mode is a bit beefier, but the car mode looks kind of similar.
It's really not working for me at all, is it? No.
Technical
wait,
issues.
there we go. Wow, there we go. Bam, bam, bam. So yeah, eyes are up here. There's Rodimus's crotch, but this is the photo that we all really sort of want to zoom in on here. So this is the photo that shows the Commander Class Rodimus Prime versus the Studio Series 86 Hot Rod. I was almost about to put an upward inflection on that because I wasn't quite sure whether that was actually Studio Series 86, but it is because he's got the yellow knees. So he is a good head and shoulders taller than Studio Series 86 Hot Rod. However, we also know that 86 Hot Rod is sold as a Voyager, but he is more of a deluxe class figure with accessories. So sort of begs the question, are we looking at a Voyager scale cab?
That's what's making me think that this toy has the Commander Class price tag attached to the trailer.
Yeah, that's a lot of people are saying that. I don't think that's incorrect. I don't find the trailer like necessarily that complex by comparison to like things like Skylinks with a lot of moving parts. Like the trailer's fairly simple, I think. What do you guys think of the comparison of these 2 figures? I mean, I feel like Studio Series 86 Hot Rod, and I'm going to have to find a shorter way of saying that, I feel like Hot Rod has been a bit of a test run for some of the things that they're trying out with Rodimus. Like the shoulder assembly appears to look the same. There's quite a bit of Hot Rod in Rodimus, I think. Do you guys see that?
I see it. The car mode, I think the car mode's in one of the other photos. It looks similar to Power of the Primes Rodimus with a bit of Studio Series Rodimus. But
Bradley, can I just ask you to get a little bit closer to your mic?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Am I that far away from it?
Yeah, that's much better now.
Okay.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, the Rodimus Prime, the car mode looks a lot like, puts me in mind of Power of the Primes Rodimus. Yeah, there it is.
There we go.
And I've been yesterday I was not excited about this toy at all because I thought that comparison photo that we had, I honestly thought that was one of the old Masterpiece Rodimus toys. But now that everyone's saying this is Studio Series 86 Rodimus, I'm like, oh my god, I must have this toy.
Is that because you're a fan of 86 Hot Rod and like it looks much better, or?
It's because Rodimus Prime has never really had a great toy. Like the G1 Rodimus Prime was just him lying on his side, but this just completely blows everything away. This actually looks pretty good. I think it's the first Rodimus Prime we've had since G1 that's actually got the trailer and the interaction, and yeah, I'm very excited about it.
Tony.
Yeah, I mean, wow, so much good stuff to come from this. And I was trying to think back to our previous episode where we looked at some of the early shots that had leaked of Rodimus and comparing it to these official ones. And I think I was definitely positive before, but I am 110% positive now that I'm going to get this thing. Because even just looking at this photo, if you flick back to the one you just had there, Jace, I didn't realize that the Winnebago actually had storage space in the back. There's a great shot of the flap at the back of the Winnebago opening up. It's got a little ramp that comes down, and they've put Hot Rod in there, so you can actually see that he does fit in there. So can it carry at least one deluxe car, unlike Ultra Magnus, where you have to lay the deluxe car on top of his little trailer. So that's awesome. And then when I looked at the one of the major nitpicks I had about the Winnebago was in the bottom right-hand corner of this photo. You can see that the the exhaust pipes don't join. Now, it still looks ridiculous, but it looks less ridiculous for some reason in the way that this photo is shot. And I'm kind of inclined to like it a little more.
Do you sort of not notice it in this shot?
Yeah, that's right. I notice it a lot less.
Do you think they lined up this shot directly on the fin so that you wouldn't notice it as much?
An optical illusion
sort of bleeds into the flame paint, so you don't really notice it.
That's a good point. Yeah, and then Jace, if you go back to the previous photo, there was one other thing I wanted to comment on. So, or two things. I remember last week or the week before, I commented on Rodimus's face looking a little bit like Steve Tyler from Aerosmith. I kind of take that back now because this photo...
now he looks like someone from the Rolling Stones.
He looks like Helen Mirren for some reason. But the comparison shot in the bottom left was just... When I saw that, I was like, wow. Because for so many reasons, but the face didn't... It makes sense because he's more weathered as a leader, and he's mature. Exactly. Thanks, Brad. So and then the other thing is that there's a photo that's not on this screen that's doing the rounds of which I put in the messenger group, but there's a size comparison of Hot Rod against Earthrise Prime, and they've lined the Hot Rods together so you can see where Prime stands relative to Rodimus. And so Prime is probably just a couple, maybe half a centimeter taller than Rodimus in this. So what we were saying last week about it being equivalent is pretty much bang on. So the size is awesome. Now, is it Commander class? Definitely not. But as to Bradley's point, it's the trailer that you're paying for. And then the other thing I noticed on this photo is that there's the you can clearly see the finger articulation in Rodimus' hands, which will allow him to point. Because there's 4 fingers stuck together, and then there's the index finger, which can clearly stand out from the others. So that's going to be quite cool when you want to pose it. So
wondering if they're going to be having like the Jetfire thing again, where you close the fist and then that peg hole comes out.
I haven't seen that done on any other figure.
No, neither have I. But Commander class, maybe a feature.
Yeah, if you look at his right hand though, you can see that there's no
a big figure though. Yeah. Like I said, they haven't done it again, but yeah.
Yeah, but this is going to be awesome. This is going to be really good.
It's going to be really good having Rodimus Major and Rodimus Prime on the same shelf without them having to be the same toy like they were with Power of the Primes Rodimus.
Right.
I'm gonna put up a comment that's come in talking about the trailer from Nathan Ashby. He says, I think the exhaust gaps are to allow the trailer sides to balance on the exhaust fold-outs instead of just floating there. So when you open up the trailer, it's possible that the sides of this will actually drop down and actually the pipes will become support for the open trailer. And you can sort of see that there is a hinge on the top of it. I think you could be onto something there.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I understand that point, Jason.
So when the trailer is open, as in like the configuration at the top left and right, something has to support the open parts of it. Otherwise, it just flops open and down.
Oh, right, got it.
So it looks like there's a hinge there that possibly allows you to use part of the piping work as support for the open trailer. It is. It's fairly slight. Like it's certainly no like trailer support arms like you had on Optimus Prime's trailer. But yeah, it's an interesting addition. I wonder if there's other parts of the trailer that might actually be dedicated to supporting those open arms as well.
Well, it's just the
other thing I wanted to point out in here is that there's the sort of the big black rolling gun apparatus, which can also clearly be removed from the trailer because you can see a photograph of it on top of the trailer. And then there's also yeah, go on.
Is it on top, or is that coming through the roof?
I think that's on top because you can see the tank treads are actually on top.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I think the whole thing is actually mobile. I think.
Yeah. That's probably the only part of this photo collage that it's slightly on the nose for me, and ever so slightly, is that you're stacking that black thing on top of the Winnebago, which is already big enough. You know, it's like
I thought you were going to say
they've got to justify that commander class size somehow. Right. Sorry, I just took that comment off there. Someone also asked, were his legs always black? That's a good question.
Yeah,
good question. I don't honestly know.
For the toy or for the character?
Can I say both?
Toy.
That's a good question.
Oh, so what about a G1 Rodimus Prime? What color legs did he have?
He had red.
Oh, really?
Red.
Okay, so then his legs were not always black.
He had orange legs.
Nathan says he believes so.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just looking at the wiki.
Yeah, do that. I, like googling things live on the screen share does not end well for us. So like, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, I was there, Jason.
Yeah, I know.
This is the first hot rod besides Masterpiece toys that has black legs.
All right, there we go. So, I think it works well for the character as sort of an evolution of Hot Rod. So, like all the
definitely,
it's not just like the leg color is darker, but like his overall color is a bit darker and more serious. Like he's not the same color as the Studio Series 86 figure.
Yeah,
I'm
still waiting to see.
You can sort of see there it's lighter.
Still waiting to see how they incorporate the Matrix into him. I'm hoping that looks like. If you look at the chests in the other photo, I don't really see like you see two slots, which could be a hinge, but there's no other visible sort of line where you can see, unless you sort of lift up the whole canopy. And there's a Matrix.
It will definitely be interesting to see how that goes. We may not see photographs of that for a while. There's also said to be a lot of blast effects that come with this, and we haven't seen any of those in these photos either.
I think if you follow the theory that it's built on the SS86 hot rod mold, in that mold there isn't any room. Sorry, there is room to put a Matrix in there, but it sort of jiggles around. It doesn't sort of sit in there. I could imagine you could put something like that within Rodimus, but I'm not sure that it would be a proper storage space that would hang in there that you could clip it into, for example.
It might be something that has the larger size of the character actually does afford them a proper Matrix compartment, but we'll see. Like I said, we can't really see that at the moment, so yeah, I'm sure that there'll be photos that will come out of this in the next few weeks.
Hey guys, if you do get this, who's he going to fight?
That's a good question. I feel like maybe he'll fight his inner demons. His lack of strong leadership skills will always be a burden for him.
I think his greatest villain would be anxiety. I'm not a good leader. I'll never be Prime.
Oh, this guy. Is this? Did you mean Galvatron?
Yes.
Did you mean Galvatron? I thought maybe you didn't mean Galvatron, but I thought maybe you do.
What are the chances of that coming up as the next story? Oh my god!
I know.
There was a segue there.
Nice.
So this story is not sourced from the pages of Figure King magazine. This is sourced by anonymous leaker, I think, who is the only person who appears to be in possession of a Kingdom Galvatron and a non-blurry camera phone. Has been publishing photos for the last couple of weeks. They appear to have given up on their weirdo zoom background choices and are now going for a much more sort of straightforward, just black background. Just anonymous enough to make sure that they don't get caught for leaking prototype toys. So we are looking at Kingdom Galvatron, somewhat disappointingly stacking up almost exactly at the same height as Titan's Return Galvatron, which means he is, of course, a Voyager figure with accessories, and some of those accessories are known, and some of them are coming up in other photos. Wait a second. Where was it? I don't know.
He comes with Ultra Magnus.
Yeah, he comes with Ultra Magnus. Well, maybe Ultra Magnus should fight Galvatron because Rodimus is too busy fighting his anxiety. Let's go back just to sort of a much more head-on shot of Galvatron. Like, this guy looks pretty consistent to me to his appearance in the Netflix cartoon. It's almost as if perhaps they may have had advance information on how he looks. I don't know. He also, like I'm going to go back to that comparison photo. He really doesn't look a million miles removed from Titan's Return Galvatron. I'm sorry. Like, he really...
Well, they almost hit the nail on the head with Galvatron. The only two things that were bad about it was, one, it was a triple changer, and two, it had that Titan Master gimmick. Yes. But this new toy removes both of those problems.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking they could be onto a winner.
Yeah, I'm wondering, Jace, whether you and I are looking at the same photo here, because I can see a lot of difference between this Galvatron and that.
There's definitely differences. But I mean, look, the other question is, how different can a Galvatron be, right? Like, the Galvatron's always going to have, like, a particular chest design and stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think they transform the same way. Very likely not.
No.
But goodness me, the Kingdom one looks so much better than the Titan's Return one.
He does. Particularly, and as Bradley said, you take away that little face mask that the Titan's Return had.
Oh,
it just looks a lot better. But also just how barrel-chested Kingdom Galvatron looks like. He's a chonky boy. The width of his chest. A lot of people seem to be quite upset by this, though. I'm not upset by it. I love it. I think it's great.
So a lot of people seem to be. I don't really understand. Like, I feel like Galvatron is always meant to be sort of like this brute that really almost can't contain his own strength, and so that's pretty much the design that you would expect for this guy. Like, he's bulked up. He didn't skip any day at the gym.
It's weird though, these people that think Galvatron, this toy looks too barrel-chested. Have you seen a G1 Galvatron toy? It is literally a barrel.
Well, he's not really meant to look like the G1 figure, but yeah. I think we can all agree that we are in favour of Kingdom Galvatron, including commenters on the live stream. Looks so good. Someone's commented.
I think they're talking about you, Jason.
I think they could have made that comment any week. Like, it's clearly you because you're back this week. Are you guys aware of, like, the controversy that's been going around over the quality of the photographs that have been leaked for Galvatron?
Yes.
I only knew that people were a bit upset about the scuffy paint. I didn't know there was a controversy.
Oh, it's been really weird. People have been complaining about the angles from which the toy's photographed. I'm like, I don't understand why the angle is like a cause of discussion or a cause of concern. Like, it's a leaked toy photo; they're never perfect. Maybe it's just because this person is actually trying to actually put some dynamic poses and stuff into their photography. Also, I'll just point out the photo that we have up here very clearly shows that his hand is molded. So. It was Rodimus that we were talking about the possible hand gimmick on, but this guy doesn't appear to have much of an opening hand.
Can I add some information onto that controversy that you mentioned, Jason?
Go on, yeah, please.
I think it's photo 7 that you had. If you scroll forward in the list of photos that you had,
This one?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
This is the photo I think that's created the controversy. And if you look at his legs, they look quite short, and I think that's why. But it's also in proportion to the barrel chest, right? But people are complaining that the way that the guy took the photo is that there's been something done to the legs to make them shorter, to appear shorter, sorry, than the actual figure. Because if you look at the other photos where he's kind of like front on, he's actually a little bit tall, like that one, the one that you just passed. Yeah, that one. So that's a lot taller, right? And so they, I've read up on this. I had nothing better to do with my time, but I read up on this, and the guy that actually took this photo, he deliberately did that just as a prank, because he said something along the lines of, these are my photos, I can do whatever I want with them, so I'm just going to muck around with this one. And he did this to annoy people, and he got the desired result.
Mission accomplished.
Exactly.
So weird. So the only thing that makes this look like he's got short legs to me is that because his toes are black, I feel like people have sort of just ignored the toe line and assumed that his legs are shorter than they actually are. I don't know.
It's definitely been shrunk though. You know, the legs, they've definitely been made shorter.
It's like it's sort of on an angle, like the top is closer to us than the legs. Yeah.
The guy who took it
enough.
deliberately photoshopped it. Just a side note as well, around accessories, Jace, can you scroll forward to the Matrix accessory that comes with Galvatron that I'm really excited about?
It is. There we go. Is this photo enough?
That's perfect. Yes.
Yeah.
Look at this guy. He's like a rapper or some sort. He's got a bit of bling here because he's got a fantastic chain around his neck that's holding the old Matrix.
I hear that you can actually swap the Matrix for a clock if you are.
Notorious Galvatron.
That's right. But this is going to be great. It's going to be great. I love it.
So not sure if you're aware, the chain that holds the Matrix around the neck is actually molded in that shape. It is not actually a chain. It is a piece of plastic that looks like a chain.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
I was like, there's just a stunned silence there, and I'm going to bring up this photo because there you go. You can see it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's molded as a chain. Okay, right. No, I didn't even notice that. Okay.
Yeah.
That doesn't change the enthusiasm. It's still there.
No. Yeah. I think it looks pretty good. So someone said wanting to see a shot of it next to the recent G1 Megs. Which is the recent G1 Megs?
Do you mean the War for Cybertron one that there's a photo of?
Yeah, the picture with him
Siege.
wearing the chain. If you go back one photo, there's a Siege Megatron next to him.
Oh, I don't think we're at that point in there, but
Oh no, you scrolled
we
past
passed it before.
yeah. Wait, I'm gonna need to. Is there a photo of this with Megatron? Is it a G1 Megatron?
Yeah, there was. Keep going.
No, the Siege, that one.
Yep, stop. Number 10.
This one. So by G1 Megatron, you mean Siege Megatron? Yeah.
Oh, it's Megatron
So, yeah.
in a G1-ish style.
So if that's the case, then yeah, so he's a little bit larger than a Voyager, a normal Voyager. So fair enough. Good.
This photo also tells you that he's taller than Scourge, thankfully. But I did see another photo that's not on this page that had him standing next to Cyclonus. And I think Cyclonus, because of the funky cat ears on his head, sort of stands a little taller than Galvatron. But it's not that bad, but you would hope that, Galvatron's a little taller than Cyclonus.
Typical, because Cyclonus is actually...
Can we just go back to speaking about the photography efforts for a minute? Someone's made the comment. They said it's actually a piss poor effort as far as for fundamental marketing product photography is concerned. Sure.
I know what you're going to say, Jose. I know what you're going to say.
But this guy's not marketing the figure; he's leaking it.
That's right.
So yeah, I don't know. I feel like the entire Transformers community has been extremely critical of these photos, more so than anything else. But also, it's a very different form of leak for us. Like, we're used to seeing things on cutting mats with rulers next to them showing how large they are or anything like that. So
Korea.
So like this person's actually got their hands on the toy and they've decided to sort of try and do a photo shoot. So yeah, fair enough. Like they can certainly be criticized on that front. But yeah, I just do think it's a little bit funny. Like everyone's a photography critic suddenly. So yeah.
Could you imagine if we were Star Wars fans though? How rapidly people would crawl over the photos and then rip each other apart because the photos didn't look correct. I feel like we're a little calmer. We still have outrage as Transformers fans, but we're a little calmer than other fandoms.
This is true. Look, so I think the verdict appears to be unanimous amongst the three of us. Galvatron, wait, what is going on with that photo? Okay, Galvatron, must buy. So in fact, let's put it this way, guys: is Kingdom Galvatron a great Kingdom figure or the greatest Kingdom figure?
I'll go with great.
Ooh, yeah, I'll have to go great as well.
Holding reservation for Rodimus Prime.
Oh, okay, no, fair enough. I mean, like, I don't like to speak in absolutes, so fair enough.
Yeah. And my Ultra Magnus is still staring at me, and I'm really enjoying that figure.
Fair enough.
I can't say it's the greatest.
I was just looking at cartoon pictures from the G1 cartoon, and Cyclonus actually is a little bit taller than Galvatron.
Is he really? Wow. Okay.
He's slender, but a little bit
okay.
taller. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, they've got it in scale then. That's good.
Short little note as well. The person who's taking these photos has also like done some like versus photos and stuff, and like I think they've done a pretty good job of posing up the photos, posing up the characters and stuff. It's all right. Yeah.
It's a pity you Autobots die so easily.
Apparently it is. Oh, and we haven't actually had a photo of him in his space cannon mode. So here we go. There's a couple of things to note that are different here than some of the previous things that we'd seen. So it looks like the arm attachment for his gun cannon does not need to sit in the mouth of his cannon mode. So that's a good plus. I don't know where it goes, but that's nice. Tank treads look like the tank treads have ankle tilts on them, so that's pretty fun as well. What else do you guys see in here that's of note? I don't know if there's more here. Yeah,
I was just going to say the tank treads to me I hadn't realized, but obviously it sits under his forearms, and it hadn't actually bothered me in bot mode, but I really notice it now. He's got to have it, right? That's part of the figure. I get that, but I'm just sort of staring at them now, going, I wonder how much of that's going to annoy me in real life when I see it in bot mode again. So,
I don't know. Can you actually can you see his fingers sticking out there? Is that
I'm just seeing that the purple bit under the grey barrel is obviously his robot mode chest. So it seems like maybe his head either pops down or his stomach pops up like the G1 toy, because this looks it's putting me in mind of the G1 toy a bit, but then again, that's the only other Galvatron cannon we've really had.
That's true. Like Galvatron's also been a tank in Generations and things like that. So yeah. So like knowing this about sort of
Jason, can I just interrupt for a second? The back of the top of the cannon, I think that's the arm piece that his cannon is attached to. So you're right.
Yes, you're right. So it definitely detaches there and goes in. Do you guys think so? Tony, you and I were surmising last week that there might be some electronics in the cannon. Do you think that might still be the case?
I would love that to be the case, but just given where Hasbro goes with like low quality QC and all that kind of stuff, I'm thinking that electronics would be too much of a stretch.
Yeah, there's something going on in the cannon there. Like there's some detail going down the center there, but I can't quite make out what it might be there. There you go. There's quite a lot of tilts on the cannon, so you can definitely like aim upward and stuff. So what I was gonna ask, knowing that sort of as we were saying, the front, his robot mode chest is obviously at the bottom of that. Do you think the robot mode chest is actually just hiding a massive cylinder behind him in robot mode?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Because you don't actually. Do you see any other photos of him in robot mode other than the front?
Yeah. I mean, like this guy's done quite a lot. So there you go. So that's definitely confirming there that the robot mode chest is sort of at the bottom of the cannon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. See the side. Looks like the side folds down or something, and he's literally just like a grey barrel with some purple bits around him.
Yeah,
It's
maybe they've been a little bit smarter than that. I don't know. We'll see.
Or is the barrel sitting behind that chest? That's why it's so wide, because it needs to hide the barrel itself.
Well, there's
well,
also
you called him barrel chested, so like it's literally correct, right?
There's also
Wasn't
the
just a clever
question of what happens to his head.
Yeah.
Oh, it's probably the head just probably flips down. Who knows? Like, yeah. It's not. I don't think it's like the. I don't think it's like the G1 thing where the barrel.
Where you just
into his
extend
head.
it. Yeah.
Actually, if you go back a photo, Jace, it looks like his head is sitting on a grey barrel type structure.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah. I wonder if the barrel collapses in some way. Like that might actually justify the sort of the leader engineering there. Don't know. We'll find out. So like there's clearly some interesting wacky transformation. Like, you know, Hasbro's given this to the boffins at Hasbro HQ to design. This is one of the reasons I asked about the circuitry. Is if you look in the canon, there's a sort of a lighter part of the canon there. I was wondering if that might have been a hint that maybe there is some circuitry in there.
The two questions on that though, right? So the obvious questions would be, where's the button to push it to make the sound, and then or the light, and then also where do you put the battery? If that cannon is detached.
It could just be button batteries lined up in the back of it. Who knows?
Right.
And like we might be looking at buttons around there. I don't know. Like it's an exciting time. Who knows? Who knows? Galvatron could have an LED in it, folks. Who knows?
That would be awesome.
So
I just really like the face sculpt because most of the time his crown is portrayed as being 3 spikes, but what it actually is it's 2 spikes on the side which meet together, and then there's a spike in the back, and that's what we've got here.
Notably, this is different to the head sculpt that was presented in the Netflix show. Yes. He had a very, very broad curve rather than angled spikes. So yeah. We do also have rumors that this figure will be presented in an original toy color repaint in the Gen Select line.
I had a feeling that was going to come up.
I don't have it. I don't have it to hand, but I did see someone on Twitter did a digibash of one of these photos and flip the colors around into. Also, like part of it is like toy accurate. Another one is, and you could also say comic accurate because when he appeared in the Marvel UK comic originally in the 80s, they used the toy color scheme rather than the movie color scheme for him. So he was grey. So like the toy thing could be a comic accurate, and oh my goodness, like this figure in like shades of greys and stuff, it looked amazing. So, yeah.
Did you see someone did that digibash on Twitter, where they actually recolored one of these pictures, and it was the G1 original colors, and it.
Do you mean the one I literally mentioned 2 minutes ago?
Yeah, that's right.
Yes, that one.
I'm just making sure you're on your toes.
By the way, at some point this week, I saw a digibash on Twitter of someone had taken one of these photos and turned it into G1 toy / comic accurate.
Do you mean the one that I just mentioned a second ago, Jace? Because
maybe
we just
did you see a digibash on Twitter about someone turning this into G1
I saw a
accurate
digibash
toy
on
colors? Tell me about it.
Big news, okay?
Tony, why haven't you mentioned this before?
I haven't heard of this.
I wanted to be a surprise, and here it is, okay? Right. Someone has done a digibash of one of these photos here in original G1 colors. You guys are going to blow your minds when you see it or when you hear about it, which is right now.
Jason was just telling me before, actually, about a digibash he saw. What was that, Jason?
What? Get out of here.
So after all of that, I really wish that we'd put that in the run sheet because then I could show people this digibash instead of talking about it a lot.
Can we find it now or not? Oh, you don't want to Google it?
If one of you guys finds it for me and sends me the link on Messenger, then I can put it up. And I'm gonna
leave ourselves in order to do that.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that while someone else does that. But so Bradley,
yes.
How much in love with Kingdom Galvatron are you on a scale of 1 to like I'm going to have its babies?
Considering surgery in order to have its babies, because Galvatron is one of those G1 characters that has not had a very good toy form.
Yeah, fair enough too. And yeah, so you mentioned the face sculpt, right? And like we haven't, you said how good the face sculpt is, but we haven't really spoken about it directly that much. And it is on screen at the moment, and goodness me, it looks grand, doesn't it? He's even got the little angry chin piece.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
The question though is, when he's on your shelf, whose voice is he going to have? Leonard Nimoy's or Frank Welker's?
Actually, it's really interesting, right? Because it's kind of weird, right? Like I don't necessarily hear voice actors' voices when I look at the toys, and I think I mentioned a while ago. I think a lot of my Transformers exposure when I was growing up was actually comics, and
okay.
I tend not to actually read the comics in like in a particular voice. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Yeah.
That's an interesting background, Jason. I think it explains some of your preferences in terms of toys, because like I grew up on the original cartoon, like the G1 cartoon, and I didn't have any of the comics when I was a kid. And so I tend to, like Bradley, I tend to hear the voices, and in this particular instance, I hear Leonard Nimoy all the time.
Yeah. I was going to try and swap this in. There we go. Thank you. I put up my own messenger app, so like this might not go well, but so we did.
Hey, Jace, did you know that there's a digibash of Galvatron, and it's done in like the original G1?
They took this one and they made it look like the cartoon.
Yeah.
Wow. Are you saying that that's what I'm looking at? A digibash?
It's a digibash. Oh my god!
I thought this is.
Doesn't it look great? Yeah. Doesn't it look great?
It does. It does look great. It does look fantastic. The colors on
yellow eyes.
Yes, yeah, they've done a fantastic job of the eyes. When this does actually come out for reals, though, I sort of question whether or not they will actually give him a shiny face. Like I don't think there'll be shiny pieces on it, but I don't know. Like there were a few shiny bits on the G1 toy. So what's ended up happening here is that they've sort of gone like, well, the 4 red squares and the like the abs cavity, they've become shiny in this digibash. So I don't know if that's really going to be the case. But yeah, no, like this. Oh my god, like where Kingdom Galvatron looked hot before, this looks amazing. And because Galvatron is actually one of the characters that I had when it was released when I was a kid. Like I got it that year for Christmas, and like he's been a big part of my collection and like my Transformers fandom ever since. And so like this just like, the nostalgia just flows on this photo. It's amazing. Like I need a moment. Just talk about how much you like it, because like I'm impressed.
I really like the fact that whenever people do pictures of Galvatron, they don't do pictures of Galvatron opposite Rodimus Prime. They do pictures of Galvatron opposite Ultra Magnus. And there's a bit of fan lore, I don't know if it's actual lore, but fan lore, as to why Galvatron's fixated on Ultra Magnus. It's because when Galvatron was made, he was given the task of killing the Autobot leader, which was Ultra Magnus. That's why Galvatron doesn't really give a toss about Rodimus Prime.
So the interesting part of this though is that if you go back to the 80s, the toys like Magnus and Galvatron were really positioned opposite each other as toys, and yes. I'm pretty sure that
both
they were
city commanders.
Both. Yeah, they were both in fact city commanders, which like so many of the so many of the toy designations make absolutely no. You know, they're absolutely unimportant to any other iteration of the franchise. Like it wasn't important to the movie or the cartoon because like there was no mention of it being a city commander rank or anything in the cartoon. But yeah, so like they were very much positioned opposite each other as city commanders. And you sort of wonder if whoever sort of did that at Hasbro was just like, well, they're both big toys, so blah, whatever. And like they might have had no idea what was going on in the movie. But I don't know.
Or maybe they just had foresight to realize that Rodimus Prime would suck.
maybe they sabotaged Rodimus Prime. Who knows? But yeah, so Galvatron and Magnus, like there's the iconic moment in the Transformers Marvel UK comics where you see the shot of Ultra Magnus. Ultra Magnus comes back from the future to stop Galvatron, who's come back from the future to do stuff in the 80s as well. And there's that iconic Jeff Senior moment of Magnus in truck mode with Galvatron grabbing into his front window and stuff. And it's just amazing. It's such amazing artwork, and like that's become such an iconic piece of art that. I feel like that actually results in Galvatron and Magnus being paired up fairly frequently. I mean, even Hasbro's done it, right? Like, Galvatron's a leader class figure, Magnus is a leader class figure, Rodimus is not even in the same size class.
No.
Like, you know.
Can you guys fact check me on this? But in the '86 movie, when Ultra Magnus they're on the planet Junkion, and then Galvatron tracks him down. When they destroy him in the theatrical version of the movie, they just shoot him and he blows up, doesn't he? Into like a million bits.
Yeah, but originally it was going to be a lot more brutal.
That's what I was going to say, because I remember reading about how he was meant to be drawn and quartered, right?
And he was in the comic.
Is that true? Okay, I didn't know that.
So he was in the comic. There's a number of things about the comic that are weird, right? Like the Matrix is a green cube in the comic. There's this part in like after Magnus is like drawn by the sweeps and up into the sky and pulled apart. Galvatron's just standing there and puts his hand out, and this green cube falls into his hand. He's like, "Well, now I have the Matrix." Yeah.
I'm just imagining, like, at the end of the movie when Galvatron's trying to rip the Matrix open, how he would do that with a green cube.
So I think now we're like digging hard into nostalgia. I feel like he still had it attached around his neck as a chain, in a chain form of something. But I can't remember. I am going to look it up because I'm pretty sure I've got the Marvel movie adaptation not a million miles away from me here, and so I will look it up and I'll post it in our chat. And we'll find.
Do you know what's interesting about that? So in the final battle in the inside of Unicron, how does Hot Rod pull the cube apart? Does he? Because there's no finger things from what you're describing. It's just literally a cube.
Don't know. It's almost
right. Maybe he just touches it.
Yeah. Maybe it
maybe
just cowers in fear from Rodimus. He's like, oh my god, he's gonna infect me with his anxiety. I better open it. We have spent a long time talking about Rodimus and Galvatron. It is time for us.
It's because they're awesome.
Yes, they are. They are awesome. They're also going to be like leaked all over to Buggery in the next 3 months.
Well, on that, like there'll be the Hasbro Pulse Fan Fest on April 9 in the US, where that'll be hopefully released at and officially photographed, and they'll probably mistransform it somehow, but at least we'll get the proper release dates from then. So it'll be fun.
That's true. Yeah. So yeah, I would expect to find out a lot more about these figures on that day. And there's also a few other things. I think we talked about this last episode. There's a few other things coming up as a part of the Pulse Fan Fest. There's some new partnership with IDW. A new effect. It looks like a blast effects pack instead of the Centurion accessory packs that we had last year. So we'll see what happens. Shall we move on? Let's go on to the next story. We have some.
Let's keep looking at this photo.
It's a great photo. Like for everyone criticizing the photographic skills of the guy who took this, like, this is a killer photo. I love this. Let's move on. It's time to talk a little bit of Masterpiece. I just zoomed this in and it didn't help at all, so I'm just going to take that back out. So we have known for quite a while that Masterpiece Skids is in development. We've seen leaked wireframes of him. I think we've seen some prototypes. This is the first time that we have seen what is basically the near finished product. He's a coloured prototype now. I don't know, but goodness me, this new Masterpiece figure for Skids is just looking fantastic. I'm in awe of it. I'm a fan. I love the colours. I like the red and the blue colours of it. I'm really happy with them. Like, what do you guys think of these new photos?
It's Skids.
Bradley is, of course, as is traditional, seeing these photos for the first time.
No. I have seen these photos before. It's just the only thing I can remember about Skids is the only thing he ever said in the cartoon was robotic insecticide. Yeah, I've still got a G1 toy of him, and I've got the IDW sort of Jason Bourne toy of him. But this is a silly question, but is this officially licensed, or is he a fictional car?
He is officially licensed, and he is actually being released to coincide with the anniversary of the car this year. So they are partnering up big time with Honda for this, and so what we're looking at on screen is a scan from what was it, Figure King magazine, as we like to do on the podcast. Now, what's been revealed in this scan is that there's two Skids figures coming along. One is the traditional Skids as we know. The other is a red recolor, which is a Diaclone homage. And people have erroneously looked at this and gone, oh, they're also doing an Optimus Prime version. It's not. It's one of his Diaclone colors. There's a bunch of different repaints of Skids, either in Diaclone figures or as cross-cut and things like that. And so they've gone with a particular configuration where his main car body is red, his highlight color, like on his hands and his feet and his head, is blue, and there's a bit of black and gold happening around the waist as well. And that does match up with one of the Diaclone colors of that toy. So what they've announced is that so we're getting Skids, as we know, and we're also getting the red version, which is going to be called Reboost. And they also say that Reboost will include the quote-unquote iconic Honda Motor Compo, which was included with the original Diaclone mold release as well. And I'm pretty sure that that's a little motorbike scooter or something like that. Do you guys know what that is?
No, it doesn't sound familiar. But so is this, because I thought I saw somewhere that this Reboost was a figure that had never actually been released, but was it released in Diaclone?
Yes. So the mold that we know as Skids has had a number of retools and recolors over the years. Either like before Transformers in Diaclone, there were a couple of different red molds there, and this sort of represents one of them, and also as his silver version as crosscut. So this is definitely a Diaclone homage.
Okie dokie, because I remember reading somewhere about this was a first release for this toy, or maybe it's first release for this character. I'm not sure.
It's probably the first Western release of Skids in these colors, and like Reboost is a new character that they've come up with. Like how they do Delta Magnus and Loud Pedal and stuff like that. I mean, like Loud Pedal's not really a good example of that, but yeah. So like we do see some figures sort of come up in the Masterpiece line as retools and recolors of existing characters, and then they sort of carry on out into fandom and collectedom. So we are looking at Skids and Reboost. I got to be honest, I'm totally here for both of them. I'm gonna buy both. I like both colors. I wonder whether the distribution of Reboost is going to be limited somewhat in Japan. We'll find out. But yeah, so we're definitely looking at Masterpiece Skids. There's been some discussion over the size of this figure relative to something like Bumblebee, because the car that Skids is based on is not huge, and versus say something like a Volkswagen, maybe we are looking at a small Masterpiece, but he doesn't look very small. He looks like he's about the same size as one of the Autobot Datsuns, for example.
Yes.
Do you guys have any feelings on the size of Skids?
I just have a question though, because you said you're looking forward to getting them. Are you going to be keeping them? Because I know you're a Masterpiece collector, but sometimes you have a Masterpiece toy and then you move it on. How do you feel about these guys?
I feel like these guys will stay. I'm probably the masterpieces that I'm looking to sort of move on out of my collection are the things that have been superseded. So like the original Starscream, MP11, like there's MP52 is coming later this year. So like I'm going to put that on my shelf. There's no point me keeping MP11 in a box in my storage cage. So yeah, I don't have any representation of Skids at the moment. I'm going to be happy to get this and put him on my shelf. However, I will also just point out it is yet another Autobot car in a Masterpiece line that is sorely lacking in Decepticon cars. So I don't know, maybe they'll make Reboosted Decepticon. Who knows?
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. Is Reboosted Decepticon, or do the Diaclone homages not have a faction?
Interesting question. I don't know. Delta Magnus is an Autobot, so who knows?
Okay.
I mean, like we sort of assume that whatever Takara's done before is some indication of what they might do in the future, but it's really not. I mean, like Takara could decide today to change course and change whatever the scale or anything for Masterpiece is, and people will be like, "Oh, but you've done this before. It's different." Like I don't think it's really worth trying to worry too much about that. But yeah, I don't know. So the one thing I do notice is that Reboost doesn't have a faction logo.
Yeah, and also looking at the car and looking at the robot, it looks like there's a lot of folding in order to achieve that long a leg from that short a car.
It's very possible. Yeah. I don't think there's any particularly great detailed information about transformation for this guy yet. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look, Takara's been well known for encouraging folding in on pieces with for example
they sort of throw all the engineering into their masterpieces.
Yeah. I mean, like Inferno's ladder managed to hide inside the robot in some kind of like weird sorcery. MP44 has like the most minute of like folds and rotations.
Yeah.
So like I'm sure they can handle this.
Tony, you still there?
Yeah, no, I'm just thinking about I listened to your conversation because what's interesting to me is that there's a lot of positive buzz about this Skids version for a character that's only appeared in 2 of the G1 cartoon episodes. And you already mentioned one, Bradley, around the Insecticon episode. But I was literally watching the Triple Takeover episode last night, which is the second episode that Skids appeared in. And I think he had one line that was something. It was done by the actor that does the Inferno voice. So it's like that sort of Texan drawl. And it's something like, "Let's get this guy." And they're talking about Blitzwing. And then they proceed to get smashed into 1,000 pieces by Blitzwing through their little gauntlet of pain. But and for a character that is so obscure, I like the fact that Hasbro or whoever, Takara in this case, I guess, have gone to the effort of linking it to the anniversary of the car itself for a character that is so obscure, but it's still getting positive buzz because people can admire how great the figure looks. And I've got to say, I'm not a Skids fan at all. Hardly even remembered him before this year, but this figure looks amazing, and so does the Diaclone Reboost. So it's and listening to what Jace was saying about wanting to get it, it's like, okay, this is a guy that clearly appreciates a good robot design rather than linking it back to a cartoon or having any kind of nostalgia to it,
Jason,
look at the feet, look at the red and the blue. Like, that color scheme is fantastic.
I was going to say, because you have more of a comic background than Tony and I. Is Skids prevalent in the comics, or is he still as much of a background character as was he in the cartoon?
Skids is pretty important in the IDW V1 universe. So like the characters,
he's like a Jason Bourne, isn't he? Like he has amnesia.
So that like there's some stuff that goes on around Skids. I'm not going to like spoil too much.
Please do.
We're not going to read it.
It's okay. Suffice to say, he's pretty important. Like there's a massive mystery. One of the core early mysteries around More Than Meets the Eye and Lost Light is a message that says, "Don't let them take Skids." And so, sort of unraveling what that means over the course of More Than Meets the Eye and Lost Light is it's a pretty important thing. And so, so like the character has enjoyed prevalence over the last few years because of that. But that's sort of as we sort of get further away from IDW's V1 universe and sort of the way that ended up getting resolved anyway. That sort of is, I guess, more waning now. But also, that was a very different version of Skids anyway. That was much more like the Chug representation of him with sort of like the pink power lines and stuff around him. This is a very different Skids.
Yeah.
But like it's a different Skids, but it's still Skids. That's cool. But like to me, this doesn't bring to mind his comic, his comic ascendance. This is just a cool G1 character updated.
Yeah.
Yeah. There we go.
That's a no from me.
Well, we all know it's a yes from Jason because it's Masterpiece, and he doesn't want to have a gap in his Masterpiece line.
I don't know. The gaps in the Masterpiece line are appearing. It's fine.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's move on from talk of masterpieces and let's go to. Oh, actually no, sorry. There is still a little bit more Masterpiece talk to be had. A small update, an update from the person who. I'm not sure if this came from Figure King magazine or not, but this Japanese text here is apparently when it's translated, it gives a brief commentary. According to TFW, it says it gives a brief commentary about Skids and Reboost, and then in the space of one sentence, it also talks about the fact that there's more Masterpiece figures in the works, including Skyfire, as we might call him, Jetfire. And it also says that Masterpiece Raiden, which is a project that was announced a while ago, end of 2019 apparently, and it was actually mentioned that they will actually be about the size of a Unite Warriors or Combiner Wars combiner. So the Masterpiece, and so this of course has raised questions with people who are like, well, do you mean Computron or do you mean Devastator? Like, there's two different sizes of combiners in Combiner Wars, and like if you're going to do a Masterpiece Raiden, we would really like it to be the size of Devastator, please, not the size of Superion or Menasor.
Yeah, because they haven't done an Autobot Titan class combiner yet, so it'll be nice.
Correct. They haven't. Well, it's not going to be this because this is going to be a Masterpiece, but yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, it'd be nice to have a toy of Raiden. He's pronounced in the cartoon, I think. Yeah.
Yes, I'm very sorry, but I speak Australian, so when I see it, it comes up. Do you know what? I use the Mortal Kombat pronunciation of the name. He's Raiden to me,
and arguably the best Mortal Kombat character as well, by the way.
Could be. Are you going to go see the new Mortal Kombat movie?
I can't wait. I'm not. I've got my expectations very low, by the way.
Yes, fair enough too. I love how like talk about a segue. I love how the Mortal Kombat movie posters, like they've put out this massive like big.
Are these the animated ones you mean?
No, the upcoming live action movie.
No, as in there's an animated poster, as in it takes like shot of each character and it animates it. Yeah, okay,
No, but on the poster, like having sort of steered well clear of a lot of Mortal Kombat lore in the trailer, and sort of like they build towards it in the trailer, and then on the thing they've got the poster and they've got a character on it, and you know how they often have like a only in cinemas, March 24th or something like this.
Yep.
The Mortal Kombat one just says "Get over here, March 24th" or something like that. It's like they've just chucked that line in because why not?
Nice.
So yeah, getting back to Transformers. I believe this podcast is about. Yes, Nathan Ashby says Raiden is made up of 6 characters, so maybe Devastator sized. So
yep.
So did I misinterpret what you were saying as well, Jace, that around Skyfire / Jetfire? Are they also saying that he is intended to be Unite Warriors sized? Or was it just Raiden?
No, they haven't spoken about that. They've just said that they're working on a Masterpiece Skyfire. Which does... So let's talk about that for a minute, right? So there's been a lot of love for Jetfire in the Chug line in the last decade. There's been at least sort of I think 3 or 4 major releases. So there was the old classics one. There was the Thrilling 30 Leader class one, and there's the Commander class one. I really wonder where they would go with a Masterpiece Jetfire, where they haven't already gone with the Commander class. Like,
that's what I was wondering.
What are they going to do?
Just make it like an inch taller, so it's more in scale with Masterpiece. Because
Just take the Siege one and just remove the battle damage and make the panels smoother, and we'll all be happy.
Yeah. But
And make it painted plastic instead of just white molded, and we'll all be good. So yeah.
I mean, you might be able to answer this. How does Siege Skyfire scale with like MP44? Have you put them together, or
no? I haven't. I haven't put them together because like they're
different.
They're very,
lines.
very different. But yeah. I don't know. Like anecdotally, they're probably about the same size. I don't know. Like so I'll get crucified for saying that because people will be like, "Oh my god, he's 5 millimeters taller. How could you possibly say they're the same?" Yeah.
I'm not sure if this helps your question, Bradley, but I've got Siege Skyfire standing next to my Combiner Wars Devastator, and he's just up to Devastator's chest.
Yeah, I've got that.
So by the transitive property of Combiner Wars Devastator, like people could see. There's an MP44 on my shelf, and there's a Combiner Wars Devastator on my shelf. So all we need is for someone to zoom in on the 5mm peg holes and do a size comparison, and we'll have the answer. Thank you. We'll have that answer for you in the next episode of the podcast.
But yeah, I'm really confused as to MP Skyfire. Is it just going to be Jetfire with a Skyfire name, or
I think his name in Japan has always been Skyfire.
Yes, it has.
So like if it's a Japanese focused thing, they'll say Skyfire, not Jetfire.
Yeah, they'll just say here's Jet. The West call this Jetfire in Siege. We're going to be calling it Skyfire in Unite Warriors, and it's just going to be the same toy.
Maybe I don't know. I'm so confused now. But yeah.
Well, I mean,
so anyway, there's a Masterpiece Jetfire is on the way, and Masterpiece Raiden is going to be about the size of a Combiner Wars Combiner, but we don't know which one. There's a lot of unknowns. There's a lot of unknowns in this wall of text, and it is literally a wall of text. Yeah. Yeah. Like names are literally all we have. In fact, like if I take that away, like there's really nothing there for us. Let's have a look at
Google Translate.
You know what? I actually tried it. It was hilarious because some of this. So the way that this ends up, you have to read this right to left, vertically. So Google orients the words facing down this way, and because some of the words are technically split across lines, it doesn't handle them very well. Like it translates parts of them, and so you end up with a lot of messed up translations. So yeah, we're not gonna Google Translate this.
Yeah, if you ever Google Translate English songs to Japanese, then back to English, you'll end up with something completely different. It's amazing.
You do. It's quite scary. Let's move on. Let's talk about something else. So I put this in as it's a new Transformers game coming out.
We've been over an hour, Jason. We don't need to talk about this.
We have. We have. However, I keep getting told that is apparently not important. So, Transformers Alliance is a brand new AR game that has been released on Android only in Japan. It's so an AR location-based game is something like Ingress or Pokemon Go, and so you have to build up your base camp. And apparently, one of the sort of conceits of the game is that you can find real-world objects and you can scan them with your phone, and they will turn into Transformers characters that can you can bring into your faction within the game. Like anything like these guys, there's going to be location-based things and battles that have to go on. It's only in Japan at the moment, and so maybe it's in the beta test. It's hard to say.
Jason just cut out pretty majorly there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Am I back?
You're right. Yeah, you're right. You're right now.
Yeah, I'm back. Good. I mean, I didn't have anything much to say of import about the game anyway, because I don't really know too much about it. No one really knows too much about it because it's only available in Japan at the moment. I'm sure there'll be more come out in the next few months probably.
This sounds like a lot like their stab at doing like a Pokemon Go, Harry Potter Wizarding World type thing, right? But I'm interested in the idea that you can look at any object that's like real life and then have that turn into a transformer. I'm interested how they would do that. So it could be interesting.
So I feel like they might have. I was thinking about this.
Robot modes.
No. I was thinking about this, right? I feel like they might do it based on like a particular type of car. So like if you see a Volkswagen, then you could scan it and get like a Volkswagen type, like Bumblebee type figure to join you. And so like I feel like they might even sort of expect. If there's a particular area where someone owns a VW Beetle, like maybe people will like to go there and take a photo of their car in order to get the character. So that's something that happened a lot with Pokemon Go because of raid portals and rare Pokemon appearing in particular places. So I kind of feel like it's not going to be like scan a car and it becomes a character. It might be like, scan a Lamborghini Countach and you'll get something. But if you scan a Ford Laser, you might not get much.
How many Lamborghini Countaches are going to be in your area?
Car spotting or something.
Mate, you have no idea what's in my garage in this apartment block. Like, my apartment block has so many fucking Audi R8s and BMW like things in my basement. Like I think in order to get out of my car park, I think I have to go past at least $10 million worth of cars. It's amazing. Yeah, I could probably win the entire game by just scanning cars in my garage. I don't know. Let's find out. But yeah, so I feel like they might do particular object recognition on particular types of cars. But who knows? Who knows? I'm sure if this is something that is going to go wider than Japan, like I'm sure we'll find out about it all in good time. Like this feels like it's a test market. It's only on Android and it's only in Japan at the moment, so it feels very much like it's being tested. Shall we move on?
It's just going to be weird to see in reality, I would say.
It will. Let's go talk quickly about animation for the upcoming Nickelodeon series. We still don't know very much about it, but we do know that it's meant to be a little bit more light.
There's a Nickelodeon series?
Comedic. Bradley hasn't listened to the podcast while he's been away for the last
Shame on you,
weeks.
Bradley. We did this a few weeks ago.
there is a Nickelodeon series that's coming up. So there's two separate. We'll do a quick recap. There's two separate TV cartoon shows that are coming up. One is the Bots series, and the other is the Nickelodeon series, which is intended to be a little bit more lighthearted and comedic. Now, not much, like that's pretty much all we know about it. But they've announced this week that a studio called Icon Creative Studio will be doing the 3D CGI work for the series. And Boulder Media is doing the Bots series. So I am completely unfamiliar with these titles, but Icon has also developed a reputation for doing Eleanor of Avalor, Disney's Monsters at Work series, and Kong, King of the Apes. That last one feels like something that I should be a little bit more familiar with because I'm going to go and see Godzilla vs. Kong tomorrow, but I haven't watched it and I don't think I can mainline it in the next 24 hours. So yeah, I mean, we know that it doesn't necessarily matter what the pedigree of the studio that's on the show is. It matters sort of how much budget and direction they're given, because we know that Polygon Pictures, who did Transformers Prime, also do Earthrise and Siege on Netflix, and they're very different. They're very different looking and very different animated shows. So, it's nice to know the studio, but it doesn't really tell us that much about the show. We'll find out more in the next few months.
Mm. Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about movie news. Like we did tease early on that we were going to talk about movies.
They still suck.
This one doesn't even exist yet.
I know, but it's going to suck.
The ultimate film critic.
Transformers 7. This report on TFW 2005 says that it's got a $200 million budget, which is actually back to the sort of budget of the previous live action movies, and it's going to be filmed in Canada, which basically has turned it into every sci-fi TV show ever. hopefully they'll put a lot of that 200 million on screen. Now, it is being filmed. There's a lot of filming that's going to take place at particular studios and sound stages in Canada, and then it's going to go to Peru to film as well. So whether we're looking at, if something's very studio based, I'm wondering if there might be very Cybertron based for this film, or it might be. It's possible that the Peru stuff is possibly going to be maybe prehistoric. Maybe this is part of the Beast Alliance stuff that we've heard is coming out. But I do find the budget is quite interesting, and I feel like we still don't necessarily know what is happening in terms of the actual movie. Is this set in the sort of existing live action movie continuity? Is it going to be a sequel to Bumblebee, or is it going to be something new? It's not entirely clear.
Yeah, I guess that's what makes me a little bit nervous about it all as well. I'm really pleased that they're announcing all these things and these properties, and they're trying to expand the life of the overall brand. But just the little bits of information that we get, they're never really giving me much confidence that this is going to be a turnaround from the Bayverse.
I find it interesting. Let's talk about the other news that's come out as well, right? So this was last week. There was something came up that said futuristic vehicle concept artists have been hired for Transformers 7. So Transformers 7 is the movie that's been given a $200 million budget and will shoot in Canada. We know a lot of it's going to be shot on a soundstage, which is why I feel like it might be very Cybertron based or something. I feel like there's a reason it's going to be shot a lot in the studio. And they're saying, I've highlighted here, the artists in question have previously worked on both land and air vehicles that do not exist in real life, talking things like Star Wars, Marvel, and the upcoming Suicide Squad movie from James Gunn. So, like, there's definitely going to be some off-world vehicle designs that's going to happen, right? So yeah, we've seen this happen a lot with some of the more recent movies. Like we saw some Beast designs for Transformers: The Last Night that were never used. So yeah, like it doesn't necessarily mean that much, but we'll see what's coming up. At the same time as well, we've also heard news today that there's a new Transformers movie in the works from the filmmaker behind Charm City Kings. Now, I'm completely unfamiliar with Charm City Kings. However, I do know from other reports that it's the showrunner behind Marvel's the Marvel Defenders series on Netflix, which was, if you recall, back a few years ago when Netflix dove into Marvel headfirst, they brought up their 4 franchises and then they used Defenders as their big crossover series. So they had all the characters come together, and so like you're talking about juggling quite a lot of inputs and a lot of stars, and yeah. So do you think this sort of answers our prayers of someone competent being given control of the Transformers franchise, or do we really just want it to go back to Travis Knight?
I want you to take a close look at the photo of the guy on the right. And
do you want? Yeah, go on.
I'm curious. I'm curious. I mean, I'm not one to judge a book by its cover, but I am wondering when they hired Ali G to direct this new Transformers
you were going to
movie.
go there.
It's just, I mean, okay, all right, give him a go. I've never seen. Is it because I use black? But the Charm City Kings sort of thing. I've never seen it like you, Jace. I don't know what it means. I'm
not familiar with that as well.
Yeah.
What I do find interesting about this though is that we've heard twice in the last 6 months of them bringing in new people to hand the Transformers franchise to. And so someone in the comments earlier tonight on the live stream said that there's 4 new movies in development, and that sounds about right. Like so we've heard that there's a Bumblebee sequel. We've heard that Transformers 7 is also happening, and whether that's actually a sequel to The Last Night or something, we don't know. We've also heard this rumor of Beast Alliance, and then there's also this one that's come out today saying there's a new Transformers movie in the works. So like, I think the last time we heard that there were two movies coming into life simultaneously, we assumed that one of them would be killed and one of them would survive. But now there's 4. What the hell is going on? And the thing that I notice about this is that the people that they're handing these films to, they're not necessarily film directors. A lot of them come from TV, and I say TV, but like Marvel's Defenders thing on Netflix is a TV series. I'm absolutely completely unfamiliar with Charm City Kings. I don't know if it's a film or if it's a series. Someone Google it and explain it to me, please. Yeah, so they're saying that Marco Ramirez, who's the gentleman in question, is going to write the script for the new movie. Don't know whether he's going to direct it, but yeah. So it's really not clear whether this is one of the existing projects and they've just attached a writer, or if this is yet another project that's going to be boiling away in the background.
Would you like the brief synopsis of Charm City Kings?
Hit me with the Charm City Kings in 20 seconds.
All right, it's a movie from last year, 2020, and the synopsis is 14-year-old Mouse desperately wants to join the Midnight Clique, an infamous group of Baltimore dirt bike riders who rule the summertime streets.
All right.
That's it.
Well,
so it's Transformers
we can expect,
meets The Wire, meets BMX.
I was going to say meets Fast and the Furious, but yeah. So yeah, so maybe RC will be an important character in the movie. Who knows? There we go. So Nathan Ashby points out that a lot of directors get their start in directing music videos and TV episodes. Let's not forget Michael Bay came from advertising. So yeah,
and he stayed in there. He hasn't made any movies. He's just made very long commercials. So
I guess my point is that I find it interesting that they're not going to established filmmakers to direct these. And someone made the point when they previously announced the guy who's going to be doing the Bumblebee sequel that the studio probably wants someone that they can bully, so they can just go, well, here's what your Transformers movie is going to be, and here's the script, and this is what you're going to shoot, and here's how you're going to shoot it, and we didn't like that take, so we'd like you to do another one, that kind of thing. Maybe there's some truth there. I don't know. But yeah, we'll see what happens.
I'm just finding it interesting that they're saying there are 4 projects in development, but we all know there's a long distance between in development to being shot, then being finished.
There is. Don't forget that there was originally meant to be one Transformers movie a year coming out at the moment, and then once the last night happened, like that plan just died. Then they came back and they were like, do you like this with Bumblebee? And everyone was like, yes, we do like that, but can you spend a little bit more money on it? And they're like, okay, and then they went away. So movies for me at this point are like buses. You miss one and then you wait 5 years and then they all come at once. So now it's almost like they've really just returned back to their original plan. They're like, let's do a movie every year. And now let's maybe make them a little bit more varied, so maybe they don't all have to be sequels to each other. And maybe this is where we sort of get the sort of the branching out of the Transformers universe. We talked about this last week in terms of TV series. Like we can have a lot of TV series on different channels and with different audiences and targeted at different people. Maybe it's time that happened in the movie franchise as well. If that actually does happen to the Transformers movie franchise, whether it's successful or not will be interesting. But if it is successful, it might be the first franchise to actually pull that off. Like Star Trek's years between movies, and like I don't even know what's going to happen to the next Star Trek movie, whether it's going to be a sequel to Beyond or if it's going to be the Quentin Tarantino R-rated one. Star Wars, whatever Star Wars' plans were for movies, they sort of got Star Wars had plans for like an extended universe of movies between trilogies and between their big things. So like that died in the arse when Solo came out, and
they flooded the market, or was Solo bombed or something.
Well, so Solo was not particularly successful, although it was I would say still a pretty good movie. But Rogue One was extremely well received. Solo was not so well received, and so the Star Wars universe, really, the future of the Star Wars universe is now Disney Plus. There was a time when they said that there'd be an Obi-Wan Kenobi movie with Ewan McGregor. That's now a series on Disney Plus. So that's sort of where that's going. So if Transformers actually manages to make sort of a multiverse of films, I mean, there's still, it's almost as if they might actually be close to realizing their desire to make the Transformers franchise into the MCU. Who knows?
Well,
I
hopefully
think
reserve
it could be really
on
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's definitely there's definitely reservation of judgment happening on this. We should,
Because I
we
think
should
before
we should
I remember
absolutely
when-
not be judging this.
Yeah, because I remember before Bumblebee came out, my expectations were set so low that I just thought, you know what, I'll let it pass. And then I was wandering past the cinema one day, and the Bumblebee was showing.
Is this
and I
like
went
when
in-
you went? Is this when you just like went into Kmart and bought a figure as well? Like you walked past the cinema and you're like, fuck, I haven't seen a Transformers movie for a while.
Well, I now own 2 Hoyt cinemas, so yeah, that's exactly right.
That is unfortunately not such a great achievement because Hoyts they're not that great. Wait, are they the ones with the reclining seats, or are they just?
Yes, the leather reclining seats. So yeah,
check
and
them
I've got
out with
2
your
of them.
fancy
So
cinemas. Yeah.
I'm happy
one
to
for
share,
the week
guys.
and one for Sunday best.
Correct. But but when I walked in, I was pleasantly surprised with that Bumblebee movie. But then it occurred to me, like, first of all, cool your jets in terms of trashing any of these projects, because we haven't seen them yet. And to Bradley's point, they might not even eventuate. But number 2, I
Agreed,
think in terms of the how you talked about Star Wars and Star Trek movie series, the thing that sets them apart is that you could name at least one quality movie within those franchises. I cannot do that for the live action Transformers movies. There's no one movie where I'll go, yep, that's fantastic. That's the one that sets the bar, and I'll show non-Transformers fans that live action movie. So I myself am still waiting for that, and I feel like we got very close to it with Bumblebee on those Cybertronian scenes that they had. But that still wasn't enough, right? It was close, but just not quite where I wanted it to be. So I'm still hoping that one of these 4 movies will be that one movie that says, yes, this is the thing that you point to and say, this is a great representation of these characters in a live action form.
Yeah, maybe there will be something coming up. Who knows? Let's table the movie talk, shall we? We've managed to get into the movie talk. We've managed to get out of it without really upsetting people. It remains to be seen just how upset Brad is when he edits this conversation. But yeah,
Let's talk about statues.
we're done.
Yeah.
No, there's no statue talk. We're done. News is over for the week. We've managed to get to the end of the news. So that means we're going to talk about new acquisitions, and you guys haven't got any new acquisitions, have you?
I've got a couple, but I didn't add them to the run sheet. I've gotten 4 of the Generation Select C-Cons, but they're still in their boxes because I'm waiting for the other 2 to arrive. But I have gotten Tiger Track.
Oh,
Hey.
Tiger Track, yes.
Beautiful. Look at him.
What a good yellow boy.
Yes, I quite like him. I'm still waiting for the Deep Cover to arrive, but I really, really like, because I bought Deep Cover and Tiger Track on the same day, I think. But I really, really like Tiger Track.
I really like the color scheme. Like the yellow just really works for him, but the black works for Deep Cover as well. While I've got the mic here, just because we got a comment from YouTube, and like comments from YouTube never come in, so I'm just going to put it up here. Ernest Frazier is saying hello, and so let's just say hello. Hi Ernest.
Hi, Ernest.
Hope you're
Frazier.
watching. Yeah, hope you're enjoying the show. And yes, we are definitely here, and we are definitely
And
real. We're not cats, and we're not lawyers. So yeah.
Please give that doggo a pat from me.
Yes. Please.
I wonder if Ernest was actually looking to type in, the song by Adele, and he unwittingly found our YouTube channel. Hello.
It's possible. So Bradley, your side swipe repaints.
Yes.
Yeah.
I quite like Tiger Track. He sort of like, if someone wants to get Sunstreaker and Sideswipe, but they just can't be bothered getting both toys, they can have them together in the one. You got
So
a
you're
yellow
saying
side
that
swipe.
Tiger Track is basically Sunswipe?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, it sounds better than Side Streaker.
I'm not sure.
Question
it does,
on
but yeah.
question on that toy though, Bradley. The shoulder cannon looks like it's on an angle. Is that you got to
That's
tilt it
just
up?
what I do. That's just what I do to it.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, it's just so. I mean, yeah, it
Okay.
plugs in
Got it.
Yeah.
like the
got
side,
it.
but yeah, I just have it plugged in on the side.
Yep.
So Bradley, you said that you got deep cover at the same time as well. So another side swipe repaint, but this one in sexy black, blue, and white. Have you opened deep cover?
No, because he still hasn't arrived at your place.
Oh, yes, that's right. Because you're on one of the later orders for deep cover. Fair enough too.
Yeah.
So, yes.
But I will be opening him as soon as he arrives.
Jason's furiously going to start ordering deep cover now because he's completely forgotten about your order, Bradley.
I was worried for a second.
No, I do have that. I do have that order in hand. So for the uninitiated, I do handle some imports and orders for club members, of which Bradley is one. So yeah. So Ernest Fraser has responded to us and said, I posted news before that. Ernest, we know you did, but it's not on our run sheet to discuss this week. It might come up next week. So, but thank you for bringing it to our attention.
I should say I do have another acquisition, but I don't actually physically have it yet. My friend was able to source a Studio Series Grimlock a couple of weeks ago, but I haven't been able to actually get it in hand yet.
Well done.
So
I should actually mention. So I've got L Studio Series 8060 Grimlocko here in front of me, and I'm going to put something very special in his hand. I should do this on camera just so that no one thinks it's dodgy. So at the meetup in Sydney last night, we had a member of the club come along, and he brought along 3D printed swords for Studio Series 86 Grimlock. Like, I'm just going to put myself on full screen layout there, because if I put him in the center of the thing, then he's sort of in front of my microphone. But yeah, so big time sword action going on for Studio Series Grimlock now. Yeah, there's a lot of swords coming out for this guy. Non-F has done one that's either completely red, which is a bit weird, or black hilt like this, and an orange blade, which will also look pretty impressive. So if you are looking to get a sword for your Studio Series 86 Grimlock, there might be some information going up about acquiring them in our Facebook group in the next little while. I'm going to briefly talk about my acquisition. Are you finished your acquisitions there, Bradley?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm going to briefly talk through some of mine because I only have one of mine to hand here. So I broke my No More Cyberverse Deluxes rule this week. I went out toy shopping with Clinton from Toy Reel. We went into Kmart. We found the new Cyberverse Deluxes at $29, which is a much more palatable price for them. And so I picked up Starscream, I picked up Soundwave, and I picked up Prowl, and I looked at him and went, nah, and put it back on the shelf. So I came home with Starscream and Soundwave. I'm actually pretty impressed with them. Like, they are Cyberverse Deluxe figures. They suffer from a few things that those figures suffer from, like they're fairly hollow. The plastic quality is not quite there, but they're actually fairly poseable. And the Starscream comes with Starscream comes with his arm cannons, and it also comes with a really interesting effects part that sits on. It's either a 3mm or a 5mm port on Starscream's body, and it's a clear cloud with three parts that shoot off it, and red missiles attached to them as well. So, like, for an effects piece, it's really detailed. And he also comes with 2 blast effects for his arm cannons as well. So Starscream comes loaded up. And yeah, like those all go pretty well. Like they can make some impressive photos and poses with them. Soundwave, I was initially a bit cold on, but once I transformed Soundwave into his little armored vehicle with sonic weapon alt mode, I was like, actually, yeah, I'm actually really quite into this. It's really clever. It comes with a little laser beak. The laser beak sits in the front of the car as well. So like it all comes together quite nicely. So I'm more impressed with Soundwave and Laserbeak than I thought I was going to be. I've also got, oh my goodness, hang on, I need to slide my chair over here and see if I can pick this guy up. There we go. I should have prepared more for this than I did. But here is the orange boy that everyone is really into. Kingdom Huffer is in the house, and oh my goodness, he's a great little figure. He's really dynamic. He's got all the like tilts and swivels and stuff that you expect. He's also got like a big fuck off gun that comes with him. It's really great. People have looked at the gun and said that the gun is actually based on a Halo rifle. I'm not much of a Halo aficionado, so I can't really speak to that. But yeah, he's a really nice deluxe figure. He ticks all the boxes that I want him to, and it's pretty much all I'm going to buy from Wave 2 of Kingdom. So the other Wave 2 deluxes for Kingdom are Ractonite, which I'm not interested in, RC, which is a repack, and Air Razor. Air Razor was doing the rounds on the table last night at the meetup, which really nice figure. A lot of people were really impressed by it, but just I'm not that into it. Other stuff that I picked up this week was something that I've been looking at getting for a while, and this came to me. This is going to be interesting in terms of the how I position this with the microphone. This came to me from the erstwhile Jason Discount off our Facebook group. This is the Transformers animated Sons of Cybertron set, which I'm just going to pan.
You want to put yourself back onto the main?
Yeah, I might do that. Yeah. There we go. The Transformers animated Sons of Cybertron set, which is it's one of the few Transformers animated sets that I didn't acquire back in the day, and it's a Japanese release. But also, this is actually I've been going around for years telling people that I've got all the animated Rodimuses. I didn't have this one.
You were living a lie.
I was living a lie. Like I had totally like I'd been telling a massive fibby porcupine for many years. So now I have finally acquired the last animated Rodimus, and he's standard animated Rodimus, but this one's got some clear and transparent parts on it, which makes him infinitely cooler and more prone to breakage. There is also the deluxe Optimus in transparent colors as well. So really looking forward to opening this set up and getting them out and taking some photos with them, which I was hoping I would have done before the podcast, but as you can see, clearly I have not opened it up yet. So this is probably one of my favorite acquisitions of the week. Nathan Ashby says, Sons of Cybertron. Well, that's interesting timing. Is it? I'm not sure.
Is it?
I don't know, Nathan. You're gonna have to explain that one, mate. I'm not sure why that is interesting timing, but yeah. So got myself a Sons of Cybertron set, and it's one that I can actually remove from the eBay watch list. It's been on there for quite some years.
I'm just wondering if you got Sons of Cybertron, if you're going to add the Knights of Cybertron to your collection. That band?
Yeah, the weren't they the Knights of Unicron?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, Knights of Unicron, but Knights of
Nathan has responded and said just wait a couple of weeks. It's it sounds vaguely threatening, but that's okay. We'll see what happens. I'm not sure what's going on with that. That's new acquisitions done for the week. Very, very quickly before we finish up, some club news. We will be drawing the winner of the Netflix custom Goldbug figure this week. The figure that was
very cool.
Customized from Netflix Bumblebee by M's Toy Customs, Michael Fauché, who's in our Facebook group. We are currently at about 170 tickets sold. I'd really like to get that to 200 tickets. So if anyone is watching and listening to this before the end of the month, please come past and please buy a ticket or two. All of the money that goes into this raffle and is going straight to the Royal Children's Hospital Good Friday appeal on Good Friday. So we will be making the donation then. I'd love to get it to $1,000. That's why I want to get it to 200 tickets sold. I want to get it past 200 tickets sold. But we would love to get it to $1,000 so that we can donate a good amount of money to the Royal Children's Hospital. That is about it. We are at the end of the show. Do you guys have anything you'd like to talk about? Bearing in mind that the last time I asked this question, it didn't go so well for me. Tony, yes.
No, I'm good. It was
good?
it was fun.
Good?
It was good.
Yeah. Bradley, anything you'd like to bring up before the end of the show?
I'm hoping to have HasLab Unicron in hand very shortly. I pre-ordered him through EB Games, but then I saw that there was some sort of derailment, so that sort of stopped back.
I will just say that I don't think the Unicrons are on a ship in the Suez Canal, so I think we're safe there.
Oh, thank God. That thing is huge.
I know. What a massive clusterfuck. It was funny. So I saw someone posted in the group that was just like, yeah, look, if all your packages are late, this could be why. I'm like, probably not, because like we would not be getting Transformers from Europe via that method. Like they will come from Vietnam to Australia. But yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I think we're about done. We're about done. It's been a good couple of hours. Thank you for joining us, everyone. Thank you for listening. If you're watching along with the live record, and some people have been, thank you very much for checking us out. We know that your time is valuable on a Saturday night, especially. Find out more about these stories and more. You'll find links to them and all that in the show notes. If you'd like to get in touch with us, please do. We love listener feedback. We love hearing from listeners. We really enjoy the interaction with live comments on the streams as well. And you can find us on the Podbean website, transformersweekly.podbean.com. That's the official home of the podcast. Our Facebook page is Australian Transformers Weekly, and we're all in Australia, the Transformers Collectors Club Australia group on Facebook. If you're not already subscribed, you can find the podcast on your podcatcher of choice. RSS feed link is in the website and in the show notes as well. You can, of course, also subscribe to us on YouTube, where each of the episodes gets posted every week as well. The podcast is a production of Transformers Collectors Club Australia. We're a registered club in Victoria run by volunteers donating their time, effort, energy, and money to make everything better for everyone. It's a lofty goal, so yeah, I might rewrite that next week. Our goal is to connect Transformers fans around the country. We do it by engaging the collecting community. There is some benefit to being a member of our club. You can find out more information about that and how to sign up at transformerscca.com. Moving off world, the Transformers Collectors Club Australia group can be found on Facebook, and we can also find us on Twitter at Transformers CCA. You can find me on Twitter at JM77, and Bradley, you are on Twitch at Groovy Guy Gaming.
That's
right.
Do
you like how I just lowered my voice when I said that as well?
Yeah, Groovy Guy Gaming.
Groovy Guy Gaming.
I've been streaming every day for the last couple of weeks, so starting about midday Western Standard Time, which is there still daylight savings? Is there still a 3-hour difference?
Yes, it's still daylight savings in Sydney for a couple of weeks more, I think. I feel like our daylight savings ends around Easter time, so maybe in the next couple of weeks.
I think so. So it's 12 p.m. my time, which would probably be about 3 p.m. Eastern daylight saving time. So always happy to talk about Transformers, and yeah, just like Jason, I enjoy having live chat while I'm streaming. So come on over and say hi, and we can talk about Transformers and stuff.
Are you going to be unboxing your Unicron when it finally arrives on a Twitch stream at some point, Bradley?
Well,
yeah, I think you should do that.
I've got this table here. As you can see, it's got the Seacons on there at the moment. But what I'm going to do is when Unicron arrives, I'm going to move my camera onto my second monitor and have Planet Mode Unicron just sort of dominating the shot, because I have myself
and dominate. He will. I gotta say, like, I did not expect Unicron to be quite as big as he is.
Yeah, I've been seeing pictures, but everyone that's been taking pictures has been saying don't rely on pictures to communicate how grand this thing is in scale. So it's kind of like, well, yeah, that's why I got the figure pre-ordered. I want to see how big he is.
I have to rely on something, so yeah.
Well, yeah.
Oh, all right. So April 7th, EB, I believe, is starting to get out their pre-orders. I would suggest, this has come up a few times in the Facebook group, if you're unsure whether your order's okay or in good standing with EB, call your local shop, or go into your local shop, or call their customer service, or email them. There's a lot of hearsay that's going on around Facebook. People going, oh, eBay does this or eBay does that, and the best answer is probably to just go to your eBay store and get it straight from the horse's mouth.
Yep.
So yeah, that is all from us.
You could be like me. You could be like me and have a good friend that works at eBay, and you can just talk to him on Messenger.
Yeah. So it always helps if you're friends with the staff at your local eBay store, right? All right. That is all from us. Thank you for watching, everyone. And unsure what's going to happen over Easter next week. So I'm just going to say we'll be back with more Transformers news soon. It might not necessarily be next week. And Bradley is holding up is that a Kinder Surprise Easter Bunny? Yeah.
Yes.
Nice. That'll be good for Easter.
That's all right, the Easter theme.
Yeah, the Easter theme. Yeah. All right. Thank you for watching, everyone. And we're gone. Goodbye.
Good.
Bye-bye.